Hi everybody and welcome to episode 33 of the Talk is Cheap show. Great to have you back. Hope you're all healthy, safe and well and COVID free and enjoying the great weather that we got at the moment, man. It's really hot and humid, man. Yeah, very good. That's much to be welcomed. But without any further ado, it's my honor and pleasure to introduce my co-host, resident expert and big friend and homie, Curtis Shaw in the house.
What's happening, bro?
No, I'm all right, man. What are you saying?
Well, the funny thing is that that draw that I was laughing at before the Brighton game, that didn't look like a bad result after a while, did it?
Yeah, for a minute there, man, I thought I was going to be the reincarnate Nostradamus, but
yeah.
5 minutes,
one step further,
man. It got taken away from me. But anyway, so you know what? Without no further ado, man, let's move swiftly on. There's only one place to start. The last game, Brighton away. Let's dissect it, man. Let's dissect it in the way that we like to do on the Talk is Cheap show. So coming into this game, man, we needed a win. We had that absolute disaster at City, which virtually there were no positives to come out of that game. In fact, the only positives to come out of that game really was the quick turnaround times. The fact that we had Brighton coming up so quick after. So tell me, when the team selection came out, what was your thoughts this time? Because I know last time, the previous game to that, when we saw the team sheet for the City game, we both said that we were suitably deflated. So when you saw the team sheet for this game, I mean, what was your thoughts? Because, I mean, we had Pepe back in, Lacazette, Holding and Ceballos all back for this game. So I must admit, I was a lot more encouraged when I saw the team sheet for that game. What did you think?
Yeah, do you know what? I think I was a lot more optimistic when I saw the team. I was glad to see Pepe in there, Lacazette, although I'd been calling for Aubameyang through the middle, maybe with Martinelli on the left. But still, I mean, look, I looked at that team sheet and I thought there's more than enough firepower there to beat Brighton. I predicted a 3-1 win to Arsenal, so shows how much I know, don't it? But yeah, to me, you know, we picked a good team, a good attacking lineup there. So I was optimistic before the game.
And of course, I should add that Ozil came back into the squad. He was on the bench. So presumably there was some miraculous turnaround in terms of his fitness. I've never tried to lose and gain fitness so quickly. I mean, 1 minute we were told that he was so fit that he couldn't even make the starting lineup against City. And then a couple of days after that, miraculously, his fitness levels have soared enough for him to be included on the bench. He didn't get on, but yeah. So what was your thoughts about him being included?
I don't think it was a fitness issue for me. We spoke about it last week. I think there was a fallout. Not that we know, you know, we're speculating, but I get the impression there was a fallout and then he was on the bench, didn't come on again, you know, question marks, you know, because the funny thing is, you know, at times we've been critical of Ozil.
Really?
And I think, well, you know, but I think deservedly so. But do you know what? I actually thought that game was perfect for him. I thought there was a lot of space in midfield where I thought just one little pass, that's all you need. So, yeah, but we'll get into that. But, yeah, I was surprised he didn't come on.
Yeah, me too. I was glad to see him back, you know, because like you said, it's one of them where, you know, you say certain things about a player, but you do acknowledge the talent they got. So, like you, when I looked at that team sheet and saw that he was back in, I was actually quite encouraged. You said disappointing that he never got on in the end, but we'll come to that. Martinelli was on the bench. He never got on. Again, we'll come to that. So that's team selection. Formation. It seemed to me like he was playing a 4-3-3 with Saka on the left side of the midfield. Was you happy with that as a formation?
I mean, I think we usually play like that 4-3-3. It was interesting because Saka doesn't usually play in the midfield three. He's usually either obviously at left back or against Man City, he was in the front three. I think he played on the right. So he seems to want Saka in the team. It's just a case of, where is he playing him? He's played him in 3 different positions in his last 3 games. So I thought Saka did all right though. He set up the goal, hit the bar. I thought he tired towards the end, but I think Saka's been playing well.
Yeah, I thought he was our man of the match, actually. I mean, there are very few candidates.
Yeah.
Did have Saka as our man of the match, which is encouraging given that he's so young and he seems to be a very versatile player. I mean, he's occupying different positions and performing with aplomb. So, yeah, fair play to him for that. Okay, so moving on then to the game itself, man. I'll just kick off by saying, you know what? I thought overall the performance was a lot better than the City game, but then you could argue that
the opposition
much to be better than that because we were shambolic against City. I mean, I know we had the injuries and the David Luiz performance from hell, but I did think it was a bit scratchy, but I did think overall the performance was better. I mean, we seem to have more possession than them. I think shots-wise, we might have had a couple more shots than them overall. And we did create a lot more. So, yeah, on balance, it was a better performance. Don't get me wrong, it wasn't like particularly impressive, but it was definitely an improvement on the previous game. What do you think, man? Tell us what you think.
I mean, look, if we'd have come away from there with a 1-0 win, I would have been encouraged because we created a few more chances, like you said. We had more possession. We weren't at our best, but, fantastic goal from Pepe. That's what he's capable of, and I want to see that more often from him. He's starting.
Let me just drag you back a bit. That incident with the goalkeeper.
Yeah.
Now, there's been a lot of conjecture after the game. I watched it with the guys, AFTV live stream, socially distanced live stream, by the way. And at the time, man, when Mopé made that challenge, I must admit, I didn't think he'd done too much wrong. I didn't think it was malicious. I think it's the kind of thing that you would want your striker to do, challenge for the ball. Okay, it was a little bit late and it led to the injury because obviously Leno fell quite badly. But I think on balance, I have to be honest and say at the time, I didn't see anything malicious in it. I thought it was a coming together. Leno landed very awkwardly. He obviously done his the ligaments in his knee, and the rest is history. But what did you think of that challenge? Did you think it was out of order? Do you think it was justified and just one of those things? What was your thoughts on that?
Again, I think when I first saw it, it didn't look too malicious. When I saw the replay back, I thought it's a naughty one. Do you know what I mean? It's a naughty one because he knows he can't get the ball. Leno's basically got the ball in his hands and he gives him the little nudge with the arm. It's one of them tackles that if you watch Match of the Day on a Saturday, you probably see that happen 10, 11 times in different games. It's just obviously massively unfortunate that Leno's landed, awkwardly, and they're talking about he could be out for up to a year with this injury. So with it leading to that injury, it makes the challenge 100 times worse. If Leno just lands normal, we're not even talking about it. But it's unfortunate, but it's naughty from Mopé. It's just one of them. He doesn't really need to do it. So.
I'll be honest with you, when that challenge went in, I wasn't exactly jumping out of my chair and saying, what you've done and screaming at him. I think it was more the way Leno reacted when he was going off on a stretcher, when he pointed to Mopé and seemed to be chastising him. Well, he wouldn't seem to be, he was. And pointing his finger at him and saying, look, he obviously was saying, this is all your fault. You're out of hell. And it was kind of at that point that it kind of drew my attention to Mopé a bit more. And if you notice as well, the Arsenal players, I think Bellerin went over and he kind of rebuked Mopé, but he didn't have too much to say. I think it was after Leno had done that everybody like myself started thinking, oh, hang on, you know what I mean? Let's have a look at this again. But I must say, initially, I didn't think the challenge was, it's not the worst I've seen, put it that way. In fact, I would argue that the challenge on their keeper late in the second half by Lacazette was probably a lot worse. I mean, that could have been a straight red.
Yeah.
But, obviously, that had a bearing on the game. Martin come on. He didn't do badly, actually.
No, he was all right. You can't blame him for the goals.
Yeah, so... But yeah, obviously going forward, that's a serious blow from Arsenal, man. I mean,
big blow.
Rather than Project Restart, this is starting to look like Project Rehab for Arsenal, man.
It's a nightmare, absolute nightmare. I'd say Leno, along with probably Aubameyang, has been our best player this season. To lose him for up to a year, I mean, we've got to buy a new goalkeeper now.
Joe Hart.
Well, Joe Hart, maybe 7 years ago, but not. I think he's Burnley's third choice goalkeeper now. I mean, Raul said, "Be excited, mate." So Joe Hart is.
Well, apparently we're being linked with Thiago Silva as well. So
yeah, but it's an old people's home, isn't it? Now Arsenal retirement home, Jeez.
Anyway, digress. So going back to the game, then. Okay, so
go back to the game.
Martinez has come on.
Yeah,
we were still, I would say, marginally the better team.
Yeah,
or maybe a bit more than marginally. I was like, you know what? I'm going to keep it real, man. I was slightly surprised in Brighton. I was a bit disappointed in them because I thought that they were going to take it to us a lot more. I thought they were going to show a bit more intensity. If anything, they kind of stood off us a little bit. And we had, like you said, most of the possession in that game. And we did create some chances. I mean, everyone's talking about, I'll be interested, because I know you're a striker in your heyday. Be interested to hear your thoughts on this, man. But I mean, Aubameyang, a lot of people chastise, he didn't look interested, this and that. But he actually had 7 shots on goal. So he wasn't his usual clinical self. But I thought he worked quite hard at times.
Yeah. I mean, look, I've said this over and over again, but for me, he should not be playing on the left. And I think he uses too much energy where, sometimes if you've been running up and down the left, you get a chance. You're a little bit more tired. You don't finish it in the same way that you would usually. I mean, as I was saying in the interview with Robbie afterwards, Lacazette has not scored away from home in the Premier League since last February 2019. Do you know what I mean? So him playing through the middle away from home over Aubameyang, he must be frustrated. He has to be. As I said, for me, I think there's something not quite right with Aubameyang. Since he's come back from this whole pandemic, he's not his smiley self. He doesn't look quite as happy. Hasn't scored in the first 2 games. I think he really needed a goal on the weekend to just, lift his spirits a little bit. And
but I'm going to beg to differ with you there. I think it's more confidence rather than him not looking interested. Because, like I said, the stats will tell you that he had 7 shots on goal. And he did have a decent game, apart from he didn't score, which is, obviously strikers get judged on their goals. But he came close a couple of times, man. And when he was in possession, he did look quite threatening. Maybe it's just me, I don't know. But, 7 shots on goal. It's kind of unusual that a player score, 7 shots on goal and not get one.
The thing is, Aubameyang, he doesn't strike me as somebody who lacks confidence. It's not like he's gone 10 games without scoring. It's only, 2 games. It's an interesting one. Arteta's got to find a way of fitting these attacking players in the system. And, 1 goal scored in 2 games, 5 conceded. That it doesn't make good reading, but he's under a lot of pressure.
What about Lacazette then? I mean, I know he had that good chance with the header, although that wasn't as easy as what some people were making out. Because the ball came across to him, didn't have a lot of pace in it.
No.
He had to generate his own pace, if you know what I mean. And I thought it was a good save as well.
Yeah, it was.
But I thought his overall play wasn't too bad. There was a couple of times that he linked up really well with Aubameyang.
He did, yeah. Which is why I would love to see them in a 2, both up front, occupying the centre-backs. Because, there was a few times, like you said, where a little 1-2 and a bit of movement. I think Lacazette I saw an interview with Darren Bent where Darren Bent said yesterday that he thinks Lacazette is a better striker than Aubameyang. Now, I don't totally agree with that because I think goals is the most important thing. But, Lacazette's all-round game and link-up play is brilliant. He just needs to add more goals to his game in the Premier League. especially away from home.
Yeah, man. I mean, listen, yeah, you can't dispute that. The facts are there for everyone to see. I mean, his goal scoring record, particularly away from home, has not been great, especially this season. And he just doesn't look like he's going to get goals.
No, really doesn't.
Because I still believe in the player. I still like him, man. You know what I mean? But and I said it last week. I would back him to get goals rather than Nketiah.
Oh yeah, for real.
And that's no, but you know what? That is no disrespect to Eddie. I mean, Lacazette. You look at the situation before he come to Arsenal. He was one of Europe's most sought after strikers.
Yeah,
a number of clubs that are interested in signing, including Atletico Madrid. And in his first season with Arsenal, you know, I mean, I'll remind the viewers again that he was our player of the season. Even though he wasn't that prolific, but he had a good season, you know what I mean? And he was a bit of a fan's favourite. So it's kind of sad to me how that's kind of diminished this season. But anyway, yes, moving on, man. I mean, listen, it wasn't great, but I thought we were the better team. And I was starting to think to myself, well, maybe I've done the right thing by predicting a draw, because I think to myself, we're going to get at least a draw in this game.
Yeah.
On 68 minutes, man, that man pops up. I mean, we've got to give ourselves a bit of credit here, because the amount of times me and you keep saying, this man's got to start.
Pepe.
Nicola Pepe, man. What a goal.
Great goal. Great goal. And you know what? The sad thing about it, we should be talking about that goal now as the winning goal from that game. And, you know, he should be all over the thumbnail. But they ruined it, you know, because to me at 1-0, Laurie, I'm sitting there going, we should hang on and win this 1-0. I didn't even think Brighton would score in that game. No. They didn't look that dangerous.
No.
And you look at the goals, what they scored. I mean, the defending again. I mean, last week, everyone was blaming David Luiz, which he deserved a lot of it. But we said, do not think that David Luiz is the only problem, because the way Mustafi gets spun for that second goal, I mean, oh my days, mate. And the first one, everyone's sitting there.
Goal first. So we get
the first goal.
They scored the worldie, right?
Yeah.
8 minutes, right?
Yeah.
And less than 7 minutes later, you would have thought they're thinking, right, it's all about, at that point, it's about game management, isn't it? This is where you leaders on the pitch.
Yeah.
Right? And this is why, as much as I love Aubameyang, I'm not a big fan of your captain being a striker. This is why I'm offering in favour of a captain being either a midfielder or a central defender.
Yeah.
You can
see the whole game, can't you?
Yeah, and start to organise and say, look, this is what we need to do. But regardless of that, there should be enough leaders in that team to say, right, we haven't played great. Nicola Pepe's got us out of jail here. He's got an absolute worldie. You know what I mean? There's about 20 minutes left, or under 20 minutes left. Let's focus. Let's concentrate. Let's see this game out. We might even get another one, because that at the point where we scored that goal, like you, I couldn't see any way back for Brighton. I just thought, that's it now. We're either going to get another one and go on. And although I was thinking to myself, we do need another one. No, defend. I'm thinking, listen, 68 minutes. Batten down the hatches now. You know, batten down the hatches. That's it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Within 7-8 minutes, man, we concede a goal that was, I mean, come on, man. A short corner. I think it was Lacazette who didn't follow his man. And there was a couple of people in the box as well that were just simply not on it. And then Lewis Dunk, who hasn't scored in God knows how long, he rolls over the line. He was in amongst about 2 or 3 Arsenal players, and yet he was still able to get to that ball first. So disappointing, man. It was just so disappointing to see that happen.
I mean, like I was saying to you, right? My son's 7 years old, and his coach tells that team, if 2 people go out for a short corner, 2 of you go out and mark. I mean, it's not rocket science, is it? And yet Arsenal, big Premier League club like that, you know, Ceballos is out there by himself and Lacazette hasn't gone. Short corner. And even then, you know, I was sitting there watching it, and the way it went in, I go, is that offside or something? It don't even look like it's a goal. Like, it was just crazy. And then I watched it and I thought, this is an absolute shambles, man. Because like you were saying, Mustafi is, you know, an experienced player who's involved in the German World Cup win. you know, he should be the one to say to Rob Holding, say to Bellerin, say to Kolasinac, tighten up the back four. We're 1-0 up. Brighton don't get a goal. If Brighton don't score, we win the game 1-0. But they're all over the place, disjointed, unorganised. And you know what? I criticised Arteta after the game on the weekend because I was annoyed more than anything. But he must be banging his head on the wall going, what can I do with these lot? They're a bunch of clowns. They can't defend. They can concede at any given moment against any team in the league. Because I thought Brighton were poor.
About that was the fact that when you watch that first goal again, I've watched it a few times, it's just the lack of reaction.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That putting your body on the line, that being alert, that sharpness just wasn't there.
No.
You know what I mean? I'm thinking, come on, guys. How can you concede a goal like that? It wasn't like, you know what I mean, like an opportunity where the ball's gone over the top of Brighton players taking the ball down, beat 2 players and scored a worldie. Or what Pepe done, which is get a goal out of nothing. You know,
Yeah.
This was just straightforward, do your jobs, and they do not score.
Yeah.
And we had a succession of people making errors, a comedy of errors.
It was.
And at that point, I'm thinking now, from a win, are we going to hold on for the draw? And you know what? At this point, right? I mean, I know you said what you said about Arteta. This is where I am going to be critical of Arteta.
Yeah.
Even before the goal, right? On 68 minutes, I was saying that we need to freshen this up a bit. There needs to be some substitutions.
100%.
So if I've got criticism of Arteta, it was the fact that he never made any substitutions. I think it was until like the 80th minute.
Yeah.
Which to me, given the fact that the fitness of the players and, you know, stuff like that, I thought it was almost criminal that he never made any changes. And even when he did,
look who he brought on.
Changes that are not really going to affect him that much. So tell us your thoughts on that, man. I mean,
yeah,
like me, were you perturbed at the lack of substitutions? And I must say also quickly that we've seen this before with Arteta, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, some of the naysayers are starting to call him Mikel Wenger.
Oh dear, I know. Well,
substitutions very late and they don't affect games.
That was typical Wenger. I mean, I'm sitting there going, make the change. We've just had a horrible game at City that would have drained us. We're 1-0 up. Now be proactive. Don't wait for something bad to happen to say, oh, actually, now I need to make a change. For me, the first substitutions I'm looking at, I'm thinking Mesut Ozil, because Brighton are going to come on to us now, so we can actually hit them on the counter-attack. And Martinelli for his pace. You know, Lacazette got a knock as well. And 80th minute, it's like, right, he's making subs. And I'm looking, I'm going, he's bringing on Kieran Tierney when we need a goal. Like, I don't know if Tierney's scoring rockets in training or something, but do you know what? I'm doing my best, honestly. I'm doing my best to hold it down with Arteta because...
I know.
Do you know what? I'll be honest.
I am in the immediate aftermath of that game. I'm going to keep it 100, man. I was very disappointed in Arteta's game management, the way he... the lack of substitutions, one or two other things I saw. And I kept thinking to myself, this is not the first time we've seen this with Arteta. Now, look, he's a young manager. He's learning on the job. He's by no means a finished article. He is going to make mistakes. But he does need to look at that area of his management of the games, man.
Yeah.
You know, substitutions, I'm sorry. I'm just very unimpressed with the way he goes about it. You know what I mean? And I think it's games. I mean,
it happened a lot.
In the 87th minute. I mean, come on, man. You know what? A triple substitution in the 87th minute is normally something you would associate when a team is like 2 or 3-0 up.
To see out, just have a run out, yeah.
Just giving a man, so yeah, come on, man, just have a little run around or take off a few men because they're tired. We needed a goal. We needed to win that game. And this man's making a triple substitution and none of them are attacking, really.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was just so disappointing, man. Right, so then they get that equaliser in the 75th minute. And then, you know what I mean, right from when they get that equaliser, I'm thinking, boy, man, I'm fearing the worst. I'm thinking, wow, I predicted a draw. But I'm watching the game between my hands like that because I'm thinking, you know what, they might go and nick it. And then right at the end, man, you know what I mean? The 95th minute, we get rolled defensively. And Mope, to be fair, was a great finish. It caused us a few problems all game, actually. Yeah, superb finish, man, but it was painful. I couldn't believe it when we lost that game.
Yeah, it was one of them. For me, that defeat was worse than Man City, a lot worse as well, because I think the general feeling was that Man City were just a far better team than us, even though I'm not in complete agreement of this attitude that, you know, we couldn't have beaten Man City or got a draw, because you saw Everton draw with Liverpool, and Everton are not really much better than us. So yeah, but the Brighton, I mean, their goal, the way Mope just spun Mustafi, man, and Mustafi's right next to him. I'm thinking, go and get tighter to him, and he just leaves him and gets rolled. And I mean, look, I don't think we've got one good centre half at the club. Honestly, I don't rate any of them, and I think there needs to be a mass clear out. But the problem we've got,
I'm going to say one thing, right? And you might disagree with this, but I thought up until the winning goal, I thought Rob Holding had performed quite well. And again, if you look at the stats, you will see that his pass completion rate, although it wasn't over. I know you're not a big fan of pass completion rates, but yeah, I thought he looked quite steady. You know what I mean? He certainly didn't give us the horror show that David Luiz done. You know what I mean?
No.
You know, I'm gonna be honest. Up until when they scored their first goal, I couldn't see them scoring.
No,
so
not at all.
They scored. I thought that was it. But the problem is, once they scored, once they got the equaliser, you know the mental frailties of Arsenal, and I'm thinking it could happen that they could go on and score again, which is exactly what happened. I didn't think Rob Holding and Mustafi, I didn't think they had poor games, to be honest. I just think collectively, mentally, we just switched off, you know.
But then that equals, you know what is with defenders, they can be good for 89 minutes, but they switch off for 10 seconds, you've had a bad game. That's how it is, isn't it, for defenders? And, you know, Mustafi gets done for the second goal. Even the first goal, if you look, Rob Holding, he actually kicks the ball onto Lewis Dunk, and then it goes in. He tries to almost handball it off the line afterwards.
Yeah. That was his down to a lack of sharpness and being
I mean, he didn't have a bad game, but
as soon as that ball came in there, man, he should have been putting his foot through that ball.
Yeah, take everything out the ball. Don't put them all in the stand. But you know, I just
Louis Dunk wanted it more than them.
There you go. You know, we just need. You know what? You don't know what to say at times, because you know, even when we're playing weaker opposition and dominate. I'm now looking at that Southampton game, and like Southampton look like Barcelona to me right now. Like, you know,
we're going to come on to that. But
we're going to come on to that. Yeah.
Just before we finish this particular segment, what was your thoughts on what happened at the end of the game with Guendouzi squaring up to Mope and grabbing his throat, Mope dropping to the floor, and then there was the later fallout about it transpired that apparently Guendouzi had been winding up their players throughout the game, teaching them about money and that. I mean, unless it's me, Guendouzi's not earning like hundreds of thousands. He's certainly not on Mesut Ozil money, is he?
No.
So, what do you make of that, man? I mean,
do you know what?
From Perry Groves, where he's saying, "Listen, man, Guendouzi, you're not good enough to be trash talking. Concentrate on your game." And I happen to agree with that, to be honest.
I agree with that. I look
more experienced players. You get on with your job.
And the thing is, you know, I think, you know, you've lost the game as well. And the thing is, if you look throughout that game, Brighton were roughing us up in that game. Like, I saw Pepe a couple times. They crunched him. You know, they were putting hard challenges in on people in our team, where I'm sitting there thinking Brighton are not even that kind of team, really. So all that trash talk at the end, I'd rather see you go and crunch someone on the pitch or create a goal or something. You know, you've just lost. You haven't played that well. And you're talking smack about your wages. Like you said, you're not Mesut Ozil. You're not on Pogba's wages or someone like that. You're on 40 grand a week or something. So
I think you play his shit as well. So
I think it's the wrong time for him to be talking like that. It's not like he played great himself either.
And another thing on that as well, I didn't realise, but people are telling me, people who know these things more than I do, saying it's not the first time he's been doing this type of stuff. I think he's been watching The Last Stand with Michael Jordan. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You can see that Guendouzi's that guy, isn't he? Like, if you didn't support Arsenal, you would not like Guendouzi at all. There's a few. I remember Herrera used to be like it. You know, a lot of people, Dele Alli and players like that. He's like the pantomime villain.
Yeah, every team's got one, but the problem is that they're normally the better players in the team. So I think Guendouzi needs to concentrate more on the football and less on the trash talking. But anyway, we'll leave that one there. He was actually quite fortunate because he escaped a ban because again, he clearly put his hands in that man's throat.
Yeah.
Another day, that could have been a sending off.
It could.
Players sent off for less. So he needs to be careful.
Thank his lucky stars, yeah.
Right then, very disappointing. 2 games, 2 losses. It could be argued if you throw that friendly in as well. That's 3.
Yeah, no.
We've appeared on a pitch, we've lost.
Up
to the week.
Maybe they shouldn't turn up on this pitch. You know, get the game called off or something.
Yeah, man, this is the restart from hell as far as Arsenal's concerned. But can we get a result in our next game against Southampton? I'm going to let you go first on that one, man. Odds of the week. What are you saying?
I mean, listen, as I just said, I'm not going to be silly enough now to predict a win. You know, Southampton look like prime Barcelona. Danny Ings looks like Lionel Messi to me right now. If you're Danny Ings sitting at home, you're thinking, listen, I'm going to do damage to that Arsenal back four. You know, at Southampton, confidence is rock bottom for us. They look decent. I know it was only Norwich, but they dispatched of them quite easy, to be honest. And no, I am not confident going into this game. None whatsoever in the defence. I don't see at the moment how our defence can keep a clean sheet.
Yeah, man. I mean, I'm worried about that game, man. I mean, I like you, I watched the Southampton Norwich game, and they destroyed Norwich, and they look good in doing it as well, man. Yeah. And it wasn't that itty bitty win. They look clinical. They look strong. Danny Ings looks a powerhouse up front with skill. He's not just a battling ram. He's got some skills. He's showing the kind of form now, which obviously convinced Liverpool to buy him a few years back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, now he's had some injuries. He's always been a good player.
Yeah, good player.
He looks quality, man, up front, and he's definitely going to cause our backline problems. 100%.
100, yeah.
And then you look at guys like Redmond. He looks in a rich vein of form. He looks confident. He's quick. He's skillful. He can get a goal, and he can terrorise defenders, man. And then you've got James Ward-Prowse. He's their midfield maestro. He makes things happen. He's good at set pieces and dead ball situations, man. They've got Gineppo. He's very quick. Femi. And I remember when we played them in the corresponding game, I mean, I think Lacazette scored the equaliser in that game, didn't he?
Yeah, I remember that game, yeah.
I was at that game. And I remember, I mean, it wasn't like...
No, it wasn't.
No, that 2-2, some people would say that flattered us. You know what I
mean? And Ings scored in that game, didn't he, as well?
Yeah. That's a lot. I am not going into this game full of confidence at all. So how do you think the manager will approach it in terms of team selection and formation for that game?
I mean, I just don't know with him. That's the thing. You just it's difficult because he needs to rotate. It's a quick turnaround, so he's going to be looking to make changes. I mean, Aubameyang now has played both games, I think, the whole 90 minutes, but you almost can't afford to leave him out of the team. I would play Martinelli.
Yeah.
I would play Martinelli, man. I think we need pace. I think he must be rearing to go. You know, he hasn't come on in both games.
What do you think that is? Is there some kind of issue going on there? Because I can't. To me, like, you look at Martinelli, the way he plays, he ticks all the boxes that the manager's looking for, right? I mean, he's energetic, he's enthusiastic, he's pacey, he can get you goals. I would have thought that he would have figured at least at some point in those 2 games previously, but he hasn't.
I've got 2 theories.
Some kind of stuff going on there.
I've got 2 theories on this site over things that I've read. Number one, there was stories going around that Martinelli was one of 3 players that refused a pay cut, along with Mesut Ozil, and they didn't name the other one. So number one, is he leaving him out because of that? Because Ozil hasn't played either. So maybe Arteta is not happy with them doing that.
Yeah.
And the second one, this story came out the other day that apparently an Arsenal player had tested positive for COVID-19 just before the restart. So, maybe it was Martinelli. I don't know, but I don't know.
It wasn't it? It was a false one.
Oh, was it a false one? Okay, there you go then. So for me, I can't see any reason why he's not on the pitch. He should be starting.
Yeah. I mean, it's a weird one to me.
Yeah, he was like the golden boy before, and now he can't get a kick.
Maybe he missed a Zoom meeting or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Arteta's a bit of a stickler for discipline. You know what I mean?
But
There's a story going around that he'd been at odds with Martinelli, at odds with the manager in how he should be deployed.
Yeah.
Arteta, correct me if I'm wrong, was suggesting that he operates better through the middle, whereas Martinelli was saying he preferred to actually be out on the wing.
Yeah, saw that. So maybe they're at loggerheads over where he should be playing.
He's expressed that a little bit too strongly for the likes of Arteta, who's a young manager.
Yeah.
Trying to find his way, and he probably doesn't take too kindly to the players, especially some younger players, because he's probably thinking, if I allow these guys to talk to me like this now,
I've got no chance. Yeah,
no chance later. You know what I mean? So, also, the O word, Mesut Ozil. Do you think he'll be back for this game?
It's a game that I would look at and say it probably won't suit him. Away from home, Southampton.
It sounds so crazy to me.
It does it, and that's the thing.
So-called star player, 350 grand a week. Supposedly one of the finest talents in world football. Missed an assist, and we're talking about games like Brighton and Southampton. Never mind Man City, where you're saying, well, this is not the game for him. So what is the game for him then?
Fortnite.
What is the game? What? I mean, like, this is crazy. Do you think that Pep is saying to De Bruyne, well, actually, you know what, we're playing against Southampton this week. I don't think that's the game for you, mate. Maybe he's been waiting to play Norwich at home.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, what's going on?
It's a mess. It is a mess. I mean, it's a situation that, look, Emery tried it, but the fans didn't back him, so he had to let him back in, and Arteta finds himself in I think Arteta's kind of looking at it now, and going, do you know what? You are my friend, but if I'm going to make it in management, I might have to turn my back on you, Honestly, that's what I think.
On him, man.
Yeah, man, I'm telling you, I think Arteta's got to be tough, man, if he's gonna make it at this club, because I've got question marks over Arteta. I mean, I did a live watch along, and I was so angry I was calling him the Cone Man. Because I used to say,
it's funny because somebody said to me when we was doing the watch along, I'm not sure if it was DT, but it was somebody of that ilk, and they said to me, just because you've sat next to Pep all this time doesn't mean to say you are it. And I kind of thought to myself, boy, it's a bit harsh, but I could see where they're coming from. He's got a lot to learn, man, and not a lot of time in which to do it.
And the thing is, for young managers, they need a situation that is settled so they can, get used to it. People were talking about Solskjaer at United, but Solskjaer has got money to spend. They wanted a centre-back. They said, there's 80 million for Maguire. You need a creative midfielder. There's 50 million for Fernandes. We haven't got that. We're looking, this Willian rumour's come out again today. You can see how we're going to be shopping in the market this summer. And I think...
In Lidl.
Yeah, in Lidl, in the sales section. So it's going to be difficult for him. But I don't know. He's got a lot to handle, man. And, I mean,
I'm trying to be positive about the manager. He's done a lot of good things. He's come in and, he's announced himself. He has a clear vision of what he's trying to do. But I think he's somewhat stymied by the board, isn't he? And I think that as Arsenal fans, we just have to accept, man, that we're not that good.
No.
I mean, this match with Southampton is what you call a mid-table clash, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is.
They're 14th.
Yeah.
There's not much difference between the two teams. You know what I mean? You can't predict this game with any real accuracy, can you?
No.
You have to make a case for either side winning. In fact, if you're a betting man, you would have to say the money's more on Southampton than it is with us right now.
It is. It is.
And that kind of leads me to a question I was going to ask you a bit later in the show, but I'm going to ask you now. I'm going to put you on the spot.
Go on.
Top 4, presumably that's gone now, isn't it?
What? Top 4 in the Premier League? Oh my God! Listen.
Oh wow!
That door has been shut, padlocked, everything, mate. We can't get anywhere. Laura, have you seen our fixtures that we've got the rest of this season, bro? We got Liverpool, Tottenham, Leicester, Wolves. We are not getting anywhere. We'll be lucky if we're in the Europa League next year.
That was going to be my next question, the supplementary. Given that the top 4 now seems pretty much gone, do you think we can qualify for Europe? And do you even want? I mean, there's a school of thought saying that, you know what, we don't need that layer of matches next season. We should just concentrate on domestic football and trying to get things right. So my question is two-pronged. Will we qualify for Europe? And if we don't, do you think it's possibly a positive thing in terms of our long-term aspirations and where we want the club to be in a few years' time? Because do we need another Europa League campaign, travelling across far-flung places in Europe to play football on a Thursday night and Sunday? You know what I mean? I don't know.
You see, the problem for me, Laurie, is I agree with that point a lot, that maybe being out of Europe would help us in the league. But then I look at it and I almost think winning the Europa League for us would be easier than getting in the top 4, because Man City and Liverpool are guaranteed top 4. So them 2 spots have gone. You look at the business Chelsea are doing already. They could be a force next year. Leicester are in the top 4. They've overtaken us. And Man United, with Pogba, Rashford, and a big spending spree in the summer, you could argue there's 5 teams there who are ahead of us. So then I look and I say, how do we get in the top 4 if we don't invest properly in the summer? So I almost think, do you know what? Can we afford to say we don't want to be in the Europa League? I honestly don't trust this team to say, let's just go for top 4, because I don't know if they're good enough to get in the top 4.
But you say that about the Europa League, but this year we went out to Olympiacos. I mean,
well, yeah.
No disrespect to Olympiacos, because they are a decent team. But I mean, me and you were at that game where we went out.
God.
Worldy, and then he missed that last-minute chance. But if we're not beating Olympiacos, man, I mean, let's face it, they're not exactly one of the teams in the hierarchy of Europe football.
No.
We'll be beating them, man. You know what I mean? I think they've got Wolves next, so I'm pretty confident that Wolves will beat them.
Wolves will beat them, yeah.
I'm surprised if Wolves don't.
Wolves will beat them.
Respect to Olympiacos whatsoever. I'm just keeping it real. For us to go out at that competition to the likes of Olympiacos, I think that's very disappointing.
Oh, hugely.
Achieved. Yeah. So, or maybe we haven't. You know, I mean, this is a conundrum I find ourselves in at the moment. Like, maybe we just have to accept that we're just not that good. I mean, I was speaking to a few people over the weekend who know their stuff. One of which is a guy that works regularly on British broadcasting, you know what I mean? And he does a lot of football. And he said to me, Laurie, man, you have to accept the fact that we're just not that good anymore.
No, we're not.
Arteta and things like that, he's not cutting it. You need to give the man time, give him a few windows, transfer windows, let him introduce his own players and build slowly and surely. Because he said to me, we're just not that good right now. And I thought, it kind of led me to reflect, and I thought, you know what, he's probably right. We just have to accept, man, that we're just not at that level anymore.
I mean, the thing is, I've definitely accepted that. From a long time, I've accepted that. But my worry as an Arsenal fan is I don't see how the recovery is going to happen because we have an owner that is not interested. He's not, he should be coming out now. We're 10th in the league, right? He should be making statements now. He should be saying things, listen, calm down, no matter what happens. We're going to go for it in the summer. I'm going to back the manager, reassure the fans. The fans, we don't know what's happening. We don't know what's happening. The Aubameyang situation, he's being linked with moves every day. Just be clear about whatever's happening. And I just feel the whole club is being ran in the wrong way. I mean, you've been in management before and you know how important organisation is. And we're completely disorganised on and off the pitch. And that's the problem with the club.
Yeah. I don't know what to say, man. But let's close this particular segment of the show then. I'm going to put you on the spot, man. A prediction for the Southampton game. What do you reckon? What do you say?
Do you know what? I can't even believe I'm doing it, but I think we're going to get beat. Honestly, I think we're going to get beat.
You burst.
Yeah, I burst, man. The bubble.
Shows that we've had, I think that's the first time that you predicted that we're going to lose.
Honestly, even when we played Man City, I said
Liverpool and played teams like that. Wow.
I'm telling you, I've got no faith in this team. Southampton away, Danny Ings, Redmond. Nah, Mustafi, and now I can see him getting ran ragged. I think we'll lose 2-1.
Yeah. And Raf Hasenhüttl, I hope I haven't butchered his name, but he's quite an astute manager. I mean, it's interesting because they suffered the ignominy of a 7-0 defeat earlier in the season, didn't they? They
got hammered, didn't they?
Yeah.
Was it 9, in fact?
Oh, yeah, it was some ridiculous.
Yeah, some crazy score, yeah.
Pattern. But the thing is, since then they've bounced back and they actually played Leicester again and beat them at Leicester.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, wow.
They've come full circle.
Yeah, and I watched their game against Norwich and they did look a very good outfit. I mean, Norwich were very poor on that day. But, you know what I mean? You can only beat what's put in front of you. And they beat them with something to spare. And they actually were quite good. So I can see where you're going with your prediction.
I'm not feeling it at all. I'm not even looking forward to that game, honestly.
So you're now putting me on the spot because now I'm going to have to try and redress the balance. But I'm going to be honest, man. I can't see us beating her. I'm going for a draw.
Yeah.
1-1.
Oh god.
Aubameyang will score this week. 3 games without a goal. So I think he'll get one, and I think we'll hang on for all. Listen, it's kind of weird us talking like this, but we can only listen. We're just speaking our truth, isn't it? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it is. That's what it is.
Coming on here and saying, we're going to beat Southampton 4-0 because I just don't feel that way.
Nah.
You know what I mean? So it would be wrong of me to do that. You know what I mean? I would be being dishonest in my opinions. And that's something that we both said from the outset when we started doing this show, that we're going to try and keep it as real as we possibly can.
Yeah.
I just can't, in the present state of mind that we are, the way we're playing, the morale, the injuries we've had, you know what I mean? I just think we're going through one of those really bad patches right now.
Yeah.
If we can get a draw against Southampton, then who knows, man? You know what I mean? Then the confidence will pick up a bit, and we roll on the next game. We might get a win there, but for now, no.
Can't see it. Hopefully they'll surprise us, man. They've got to show something, but I'm not confident in them, man. And like you said, Leno's out as well. Martinez in goal. You know, I don't see it. But you never know. Let's hope. Let's hope the attack can carry us.
Well, collectively, they've all got to step their game up. All the players, and I would include the manager in that as well. He's made he's shown a few shortcomings, man, that he needs to work on as well. When the game's slipping away, he needs to get his substitutions in order, and he needs to show us that he can see games out. You know what I mean? That's something that I haven't seen too much of. So let's hope.
Not at all. I better not be calling him the cone man on Thursday, I'm telling you.
You know what? Some people would say that's a little disingenuous, you calling him that, but you know something, and this is another thing that I heard quite a few people say over the weekend, because I spoke to so many people over the weekend. They were ringing me and all sorts, and a lot of people were saying, they said, look, let's keep it 100. If that had been Unai Emery that had performed like that in these first 2 games, we'd have all been calling for his head. Now, obviously, we're not going to be calling for Arteta's head, but we're saying, listen, man, there are certain things, certain reservations we have, and certain areas you need to address yourself, and do it quickly, man, because otherwise it's going to look really bad. You know what I mean? So, listen, man, I've got faith in him. He looks like a person who's very dedicated to his craft. He's very diligent. Clearly a very intelligent man. So I'm sure a lot of what's happened won't have escaped his attention. So let's hope he bounces back as the team does. So yeah, okay then. So listen, man, we're coming to the end of the show. I've enjoyed it, even though we could have had more positive things to talk about. But hey, man, it's been a great show, I hope. I've certainly enjoyed it. In closing, is there anything you want to say? Tell the people where they can find you, man.
Yeah, check out the channel, Curtis Shaw TV, putting out lots of content on there, had lots of special guests on there, and just hopefully give us something positive to talk about, man. I don't want to keep calling him the cone man.
Listen, man, redemption is on its way, man.
Yeah, hopefully, man. He'll look like Prime Pep on Thursday, hopefully.
Yeah. Well, listen, thanks to all the people out there who watching the show and have continued to support us through these troubled times. Really appreciate it. Thanks for watching. Keep supporting. Keep messaging us. Let us know what you thought of the game against Brighton. Can we get a good result against Southampton? Can the manager and the players turn it around? Can we qualify for Europe? It's looking like the top 4's all but gone, but there is an outside chance that we can qualify for the Europa League. Or do you even want to qualify for the Europa League? Again, a lot of people I've spoken to will say they'd rather not. They say that we need a season where we just need to start from scratch, tear it up and start again, get some of the players out that haven't performed, and we come again. So there's a lot to be said for that. You know what I mean? So there you go. But listen, man, thank you very much, Curtis. And thank all those guys watching out there. Keep supporting, and we'll see you next week. I'm out. 1.